Hello folks, Phil Gallagher of ThrabenU here for another Legacy video. Today at Silky Trumpet's request, we are going to be playing a Harmonic Prodigy deck. Now, a couple of quick notes here. Number one, the donor originally intended me to do this in Modern. However, I don't play Modern on this channel anymore because you all told me, hey, we don't want to see Modern. The signal was received loud and clear. So in their original deck list idea, they wanted to see Dreadhorde Arcanist because doubling the trigger from that sounds really sick. And they wanted to kind of go in a wizard-based direction with blue in the deck as well. Here's the issue. First of all, Dreadhorde Arcanist is banned in Legacy, so we can't play that. And number two, I don't actually think it's a good idea to go in that direction in the first place. And let me explain why. Harmonic Prodigy is something that makes you want to have more creatures in your deck, right? Like you want to have more shamans or you want to have more wizards. And cards like Dreadhorde Arcanist want you to have more spells. They want you to have instants and sorceries that you can copy. So I think fundamentally, in terms of deck building, those cards are a little bit at odds. And I think there's other issues with wanting to do that as well. I think a build that would have like Dreadhorde Arcanists, or there's a 3-mana wizard that has sort of a prowess-like effect. I think the issue with those things is that they're tearing your deck to go into probably a third color. One of the more powerful things that you can do with Harmonic Prodigy is cast something like Collected Company so that you can get multiple wizards or shamans entering the battlefield at the same time for a single card, and that's how you really do something that's over the top. But if you are trying to go into a third color and doing something that is decreasing your creature density, you're actually kind of doing yourself a disservice in deck building by making yourself less consistent rather than more consistent. So all of that is to say, I kind of ignored the wizard side of the equation. And by similar logic, I did not want to splash another color for a different payoff card. I didn't think Judith was quite good enough to justify splashing without including some other sort of sacrifice outlet in the deck to make it a true finisher. And at that point, I'm splashing for multiple cards, and I am all about a strong, rock solid mana base. So at the end of the day, how are we going to win? Rage Forger is the easiest way to do that. It's kind of a lord. When it ETBs, you get a +1/+1 counter on each other shaman creature you control. And whenever a creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it attacks, you may have that creature deal 1 damage to target player or planeswalker. Now, if we control a Harmonic Prodigy, all those things trigger an additional time. So that's 2 +1/+1 counters on each other shaman, and then the second ability also triggers twice. I played something like this once before, maybe a year or so ago, and since then, there have been some other very good shaman printings. This one is a shaman in air quotes because it's a 2/2 red goblin shaman that it makes, so it's not a hit for Collected Company, but this is still very powerful. And I think the backside, the reflection of Kiki Jiki that lets us copy these things is actually really synergistic with Harmonic Prodigy. You know, we copy our Elvish Visionary, that token enters the battlefield and we draw 2 cards. That is going to be very strong. Ultimately, I decided on 3. I really went back and forth on those numbers a lot. But 3 feels about right to keep my hits on CoCo extremely high while also just playing something that is objectively powerful. Flamekin Harbinger is something that I started with as a 4 of in this deck list, and then after getting some feedback, I cut down to 1. This is a card that I want to have access to because it serves as another copy of my best card. The issue is I can't always play this in the early game because I need to hit land drops and mana sources in order to develop. So too many of these things actually works out in a negative way for me. So I'm playing 1 as a tutor for Rage Forger, or sometimes another creature, but usually Rage Forger. But I didn't want to go too deep on that. As far as the sideboard goes, Reclamation Sage is an elf shaman, so those triggers are doubled for our 8-cast style matchups. I started with Leyline of the Void and then ultimately decided to play Endurance because that's a hit-off collected company. And then I wasn't sure about this slot. I was kind of thinking that these should be Thorn of Amethyst to help against combo, and then I decided, like, we're probably not beating combo most of the time anyway. Let's just play a more generically flexible and strong card. And then I thought about Lightning Bolts here and decided on Fury instead, rationalizing that this is a sideboard card that hits extremely hard, and I might need something like that. I'm relatively good at fair matchups, but having something that just is like a 3 for 2 or something like that that really swings the board in my favor sounds really good to me. Now, for those of you that do play Modern, pretty much this entire thing, minus like Taigas, are Modern legals. So I think it's Copperfield Gorge could pretty much be a sub-in for Taigas, and then pretty much the whole deck is Modern legal. All right, let's go ahead and jump directly into the matches here and see how this performs. I think I got a 2-3 with this last time around when I played it. Let's see if I can improve here. Before we begin, please consider giving the video a like. That is the easiest way to support me for free. Let's battle. All right, we have a relatively strong start here. It might not look like it, but this is actually pretty good. So I'm going to have 3 mana on turn 2. Means I can Flamekin Harbinger or a Rage Forger, put it on top of my library, and then draw it with Elvish Visionary. You don't have like the instant setup with Harmonic Prodigy to double that trigger, but like a Rage Forger is going to be one of the primary things that really kind of allows my deck to start going up. Uh-oh. Well, the good news is we have Endurance in our sideboard. Bad news is, like, we're very much not equipped to beat unfair decks like Reanimator in game 1. Just absolutely not. We'll see. Oh, okay. There's some minimal amount of hope for us. Another Ignoble Hierarch's not bad. I think I am just going to thin a land out of the deck here. My life total is not really going to matter, because if my opponent gets something fat into play, it's just beating me. So I'm just going to just ever so slightly increase the chance that I can find like a collected company or something else that would go over the top. Losing the Flamekin Harbinger meant that I lost my best piece of gas. Okay, like, we didn't just eat Exhume into Reanimate, so like, that's the good news. We'll see if my opponent has like a Faithless Looting. They do. Alright, Grizzlebrand's in the yard. Life's bad. Alright, there is the Reanimate. At which point, I largely expect that I have won game 1. That's not entirely true. I can top deck Rage Forger. Rage Forger puts a counter on each one of these 3 things, and then my opponent is at 3, and they can die. Like, I have an out. It is Rage Forger. Come on. Come on. Give me justice. Damn it. Yep. We'll be passing the turn. And now I think with an Archon of Cruelty, just extremely likely to enter the battlefield this turn. I don't think I have realistic outs anymore. I don't know. There's worlds where my opponent doesn't draw 7. Okay, they've got an Animate dead. And I think with my opponent at 10 here, I'm just not okay. Like, I'm dead on board. Like, with this much life, I just don't think I can randomly CoCo into something that wins. I can E-Witness into Elvish Visionary to draw a card. There will be nothing on a single mana that can win me the game from there, unfortunately. Alright, so we have a whopping 4 Endurances as things that matter here. I will probably get rid of Fable of the Mirror Breaker. The second mode is relevant, but very slow. I'm largely looking to just, like, do an innate combo kill with Rage Forger. I don't think this contributes to that in a meaningful way. Eternal Witness actually is also extremely slow. Although in some of the Dream Worlds, it's very good. I will cut one of those. Like, the dream with Eternal Witness is cast a collected company, find Eternal Witness, like, sweeps the bat. Oh, sorry. Eternal Witness returns CoCo. My hand has an Endurance. Accordingly, I will keep it. The hand is a little slow. But, like, I have my best card, so, you know, gotta do what you gotta do here. Alright. Broken stuff is happening. Okay, they are Thoughtseizing themselves. Okay, so they are all in here. There's an Animate Dead targeting Grizzlebrand. I will pitch one of the Goblin and Archaeomancers. And we'll nuke my opponent's graveyard. We are leaving them with 2 lands. Like, there is a very good chance that I do win this game from here. Alright. We'll go on Shaman. And I think we are just going to play the one that gives me potential mana for future turns. Next turn I have Essence Warden into Elvish Visionary, maybe into something else, and we're going to be looking for a Rage Forger or another payoff card like a Collected Company here. Alright, so there's an Essence Warden. I think I do just want to draw this card here. A little awkward in that, like, I might not use one of my mana, but I think that's fine. Yeah, and then we'll just go ahead and play the fetch to thin a card out of the library here. A little bit at the mercy of the top of the deck to find a payoff card. At the end of the day, like, I have 4 power in play, soon to be 6 power. My opponent, like, doesn't really have anything going on. That should have been Stomping Ground. Or the Record. Alright, so got another 2/2. And we've got 4 damage. Opponent is now on a 2-turn clock. I haven't really objectively done a lot. My draws don't have a lot of it, card advantage to them. Like, I need Collected Companies and Elvish Visionaries to do that. One of the suggestions I got in a previous iteration of this deck was to play Sylvan Library to pay life. But I'm not actually all that good at gaining life. Like, I am at 21 between, like, fetching and Essence Warden here. There is Emissary, which I assume my opponent just chooses creatures and I can't win. Alright. So, is there any world in which I can take that out of play? I believe no. Do I have any outs to this creature? The Rage Forger triggers still come from a creature. You may have that creature deal 1 damage to target creature or planeswalker. So I believe I have no outs to that, and sadly just need to concede. This card is very good. Unfortunate. GG's. Alright, round 2, we have a Harmonic Prodigy and multiple things to copy with it. So this is going to be a relatively strong start. Again, we're hoping not to play against combo. But hopefully this is just like a fair ponder. Okay, we are playing against Delver. I don't think I want to play... Oh, maybe I do want to play Burning Tree Emissary this turn. Like, doubling that trigger sounds really good. But if this eats a Daze, I'm very happy with this. And I think this eats a Lightning Bolt in just so many timelines. Let's get some nice safe basics here. A forest and a mountain. And then start here. Okay, it did eat a Daze, which we're very happy about. Daze is currently bugged on Magic Online, by the way. And similar effects, if you click no, you have to click no on them twice. Like, no big deal that one of the most central cards to a format is bugged. Not a problem at all. Fetch is a little awkward. I want red with it this turn, but I want green with it in the not too distant future. I do want to not get wastelanded, though. Let's go with the now. Cast a Harmonic Prodigy and try to get double Flamekin Harbinger triggers off of it. Yeah. This is so likely to be stopped. Like, this is Dazeable. This is Lightning Boltable. Where is that? Alright, we are brainstorming. Okay, that is another Daze. So this is what I mean by this bug. So I click no, and then I have to click no again. I guess in good news, like, my opponent does not have the second land to immediately Murktide Regent. So, like, that's nice. This, however, is not great for me. So goodbye, Harmonic Prodigy, and that sorcery does make that into a 3/3 now. Okay, Cavern of Souls is pretty cool. How do I want to do this? I think I like to put this on Shaman. I'm going to go ahead and just play Eternal Witness uncounterably. I'll use that to return the Harmonic Prodigy to hand. And then I'll go ahead and pass my turn. Now, this notably is a human wizard, which is a little annoying that it's like off-brand for Cavern Souls against a Force of Will deck here. But like, we have an attempt next turn at doing something relatively powerful. The issue here is that my opponent can just play a giant Murktide Regent, and then everything I do doesn't matter. But that didn't happen. Hell yeah. Alright. Here's to hoping that this resolves. Fuck. Okay. Let's pop out this zone. They put something on top. Yeah. Pyroblast going to the bin. I think I want to hold off on this card until next turn. Like, I get to put another counter somewhere, and I get another draw at finding a relevant card. I did find another relevant card. Let's bash in. I will be playing Essence Warden into Daze. I'm not going to play around the single copy of Daze remaining in their deck here. I want to be able to Rage Forger plus Harmonic Prodigy if I draw one next turn. Alright, I'm basically just dead to Murktide Regent happening. But my opponent hasn't had one of those this game, so that's very good. Alright, opponent hit a land and another Dragon Rage Channeler. So this is a lot of damage in the air. Down to 8 here. Start getting into trouble with Lightning Bolt. We'll make the Rage Forger uncounterable here. Alright. So this gives me some life. Absolutely needed right now. And I can go ahead and do uncounterable Rage Forger. Gets me a life and some Rage Forger triggers. So I deal 4 if I attack my opponent directly with everything, which I don't really want to do. I think I'm just going to be attacking with the Eternal Witness here. Alright. Target you with the Rage Forger trigger. Save targets. Always yes. Always yield. Alright, my opponent takes the damage. I am notably out of range of a Lightning Bolt just outright killing me here. But a Lightning Bolt hitting Rage Forger would be very bad for me. Also, I'd kind of... Oh, great. My opponent has double Lightning Bolt. I am just dead this turn. Or at least they are playing towards double Lightning Bolt. Alright, there's a Wasteland going into the graveyard that they didn't want to draw. Those have to attack. I go to 1. Let's see if they have the Bolt. Not yet. That's 2 cards into the bin, but like that brainstorm just got to look at 5 cards. Alright. Haven't mathed it out yet, but I suspect they are dead. Or just playing Murktide Regent. I just swing everything and like the Rage Forger trigger kills them. Alright, so let's uncounterably draw a card and gain some life here. Alright, there is just a Taiga. Alright, and now we get to see Rage Forger do some work here. So there's 4 direct damage to my opponent. And this is very much more than lethal. Alright, good guys win, bad guys lose. Opponent goes to 6 when those are done. They can block a 3/3, and then they take very much more than 6. Alright, good stuff. We have a pile of endurances that I can bring in for this matchup. So those are 100% coming in. From there, I can think about some number of Pyroblast and Fury. Ultimately, I have to respect my count for collected company. I'm not sure how to sideboard here. I'm going to make a pile of things I don't think I can cut. Don't think in any world I cut any of those cards. I think Eternal Witness is important for card advantage, as is Collected Company. Maybe Fable of the Mirror Breaker also matters. My opponent dazed a Burning Tree Emissary this game, but generally speaking, I don't know how good that card actually is. If I am going to cut 4 cards, it's probably the Burning Tree Emissaries, and then it's a question of how many Pyroblasts do I want. I'm so dead to Murktide Regent that the answer is probably a lot. Harbinger is a little less necessary when I just have like some solid good cards like Endurance to bring in. I'd like to I think keep the CoCos and keep the CoCo count high, despite the fact that days is a thing. I think I'm going to have a decent number of days targets in the early game, and those are just going to be used by the time I am ready for CoCos. And then I'm kind of unsure from here, like how many of these I want. I think I'm going to cut Fables. I think Fable is a totally reasonable to good card in the matchup. But I would like to keep this count high-ish, and then... Oh, wait, and then I'm just at 60. Fantastic. Okay, I'm going to be keeping my opening hand here. I have a decent mix of lands and spells, and I can actually go ahead and put a Cavern on both Shaman and Human in this matchup. I'll need something to double the triggers here, but oh, that's also very good. All right, so this first one goes on Shaman for an Ignoble Hierarch. I might be able to play Collected Company around days in the not-too-distant future, which would be super cool. Alright, do your thing, Dragon Rage Channeler. Opponent notably has Narset, probably out of the sideboard. So they've just got a little bit of extra gas to... Okay, cool. We are not getting Lightning Bolted. We are, however, taking 3 damage from a Dragon Rage Channeler on turn 2. I have a few different lines here. I can play Goblin Anarchaeomancer into Harmonic Prodigy. I think I like that line. Let's go red-green uncounterable here. Into Cavern on Human. You know what? Let's Cavern on Wizard. Let's get spicy. And play Harmonic Prodigy. We got four mana out of our stuff this turn. And, like, I put 2, like... I probably need to Lightning Bolt this targets into play at the same time. When it took out my good Cavern. That's super annoying for me. Alright, I'm eating 3 damage here. Hopefully I don't hit a post-combat Murktide Regent. That would be pretty bad for me. Oh, there it is. Yeah. We got 1, 2, 3 mana. I can technically play a Collected Company this turn. It is into a Daze and a Force, which I don't love. I might not have time to be picky about that, though. I'm just getting hit for so much damage. Yeah, I think since I have 2 Collected Companies here, I'm just going to go ahead and jam. Again, I don't really think this works. Yep. I just don't think I have the time to, like, wait a turn here. Because I am taking at least 5, likely 8 next turn. So I think I have to try to do something broken with Collected Company 2 turns in a row, assuming one of them gets countered. And then I resolve it the second time. I'm just vulnerable to so many things here. Lightning Bolt's very good. Another Daze is very good. A Force of Will is very good. Chain Lightning's great. Alright. Yep. Oh. Oh, that's... No, that's still annoying. Like, that damage is... that damage to my mana is very relevant if I don't draw a mana source this turn. I did. This is Dazeable, unfortunately. But I'm not really in the world where I can just play around that. Cool. Anyway, as I say every time that I play against this deck, like, please ban something from this deck. It is so mind-numbingly boring to play against. I guess if this thing surveils any one card type, I am just objectively dead. I'm dead to so many cards here. I'm going to need to, like, rip a 3rd Collected Company next turn, maybe hit multiple Rage Forgers or something. Oh, my opponent just has another Murktide Regent, so I am dead now. Alright, cool. Do I want to do anything differently now? There's some temptation to play some number of, Burning Tree Emissary to make my potential Collected Company turns better, but I think if I have a good Collected Company turn, like, I'm just okay in the first place. I will keep this opening hand. I wish I had a little bit more mana. And I'm not going to be the best versus Wasteland, but I have some very nice tools available to me for the matchup. So I think I'm just going to call that good enough. Daze, even on the draw, is just going to be very good against me still, though. Alright, fantastic. I think it's more important to resolve a Harmonic Prodigy than it is to resolve an Essence Warden here. So this is a little strange, but we're going to go ahead and play this around days and then play Essence Warden. I miss out on some life for doing this. Okay. I am still going to fully use my mana this turn. I don't care if this card gets dazed. I think it's more important for me to play one of these cards around dazed next turn. Dragon Rage Channeler knocking out Mystic Sanctuary, which is not particularly good right now. Please don't have it in the festivities. This 2-for-1 would be brutal. God damn it. Yeah. So I eat a decent amount of damage here. I'm going to try to ambush this in combat. Daze is still disgusting against this. A first combat main phase. Arctide Regent would also be pretty gross. Alright, Endurance, please resolve. Alright, I needed that. That Wasteland is still really strong, but I at least have stalled the ground here. Oh, I see. You've got a Lightning Bolt or Chain Lightning effect. I mean, I'm going to do that. Like, I will take that trade. It still, like, takes a relevant creature out of play. Alright, goodbye, Endurance. Hey, that's very good. Obviously, we'll go on Shaman. I get an uncounterable Elvis Visionary. Alright. Stalled out a little bit here. Damn it. Yep. Alright. I am hopefully not eating a Dragon Rage, or sorry, a Murktide Regent this turn now. I am eating another Dragon Rage Channeler, though. Really? That seems like a very questionable attack to me. Like, I am very happy to trade my 1/1 for your 3/3 as of next turn. Like, absolutely. So I will make my only possible play here. Eternal Witness next turn can get me back a Cavernous Souls to make me better against future counter spells. But my opponent is just doing so much better than I am in terms of resources here. Pyroblast is now a very important draw for me. Not a Pyroblast. Yeah, and it's so frustrating playing against this card because, like, it is just, like, not acceptable within the bounds of Legacy power level. Like, I am playing an underpowered deck here. Like, let me make that just, like, very clear. But, like, I have nuked the graveyard, and my opponent, like, still very easily has fuel to play this. Like, this synergy is disgusting. Alright, so let's Ewit. I need more mana so that I can work towards some of my more powerful lines, like Collected Company, for example. That'll go on Shaman. Unfortunately, this is a 1 generic discount cost. That's all I can accomplish here. And we are unfortunately at... Finishing the thought, we're unfortunately at the point of the game here where my opponent's expressive iterations also will provide them with a large amount of card advantage should they draw it. I think I'm going to try to high roll here. And, like, if I draw into a land, I can also play a Goblin Anarchaeomancer. Nope. I think I've got a swing here. I have to get my opponent's life total low enough that if I am able to do Rage Forger stuff, it does something cool. Getting Wastelanded off that Cavernous Souls was just disgusting. Alright, I eat 5 more damage here. Okay. I'm very nearly dead. This is going to go on Shaman. I think I need to do this to reduce costs of Rage Forger to 1, and then make this uncounterable. Get a bunch of +1/+1 counters. I'm dead to this becoming a flyer. Alright, Rage Forger, target you. I'm going to have to do this individually this time around. From there, I can save targets. Always yes. Always yield. Yeah, so if opponent gets 2 hard types into graveyard, I am dead. Opponent has a lightning bolt or similar effect, I am dead. Got a blank of some kind in hand from last turn. Am I dead? Well, I feel like I got extremely lucky there to win that. Like, I'm dead to Lightning Bolt. I'm dead to Chain Lightning. I'm probably dead to a cantrip, like between an instant or sorcery hitting the graveyard and Surveil. Like, I'm dead to so many things there. Opponent bricked on 2 draw steps in a row. But we take those. Fuck Delver. All right, I'll be keeping my opening hand here. I have a good mix of lands and spells. I'm not going to be good against combo, but I'm never going to be good against combo with this deck, so, like, that's okay and acceptable. Oh, please don't Delver me again. Okay, this is fine. Death Shadow is at least a different matchup. That's fine. I'm so good with that. All right, I have lost my Elvish Visionary off of the Thoughtseas, and then my opponent cycled a Street Wraith. Their life total is at 13 already between all of the various things that they've just done here. Really want to get Wastelanded, but I also really don't want to get Dazed. So, let's Cavern. All right. Next turn, I have a Burning Tree Emissary into a Flamekin Harbinger, which lets me look for a Rage Forger. JK. I might lose the Harbinger here. Maybe a game that is going to come down to me, like, drawing a bomb like a Collected Company. Ooh, opponent is Mana Light here. I, on the other hand, am floated as fuck. So, in keeping with my prediction, I am going to need to top deck a bomb. Now, that said, Rage Forger is going to be an insane draw versus my opponent because I'm not going to have to do that much damage to kill my opponent. Like, my opponent has done a lot of that work for me already. All right, cycle away. Yeah, Ponders are fine. Like, everything that my opponent spends mana on that is not a giant, like, 13/13-ish creature is good for me. My opponent has seen this taiga, or sorry, hasn't seen this taiga. They have seen this forest, so I'll play forest here. Let's bash in for 3. The Ponder shuffled, by the way. I didn't explicitly say that. All right, Burning Tree Emissary. You're not looking so hot this round. Like, you're definitely not doing what I put you in the deck to do, which was, like, CoCo shenanigans, essentially. And explosive starts. All right, there is a Death Shadow. Rage Forger? Harmonic Prodigy, sure. So I'm just going to keep my life total higher by not playing Wooded Foothills. Although I can take a Stomping Grounds out of deck. Is that 1 life actually going to matter? That 1 life is probably not actually going to matter. I am going to go ahead and do a re-combat Harmonic Prodigy here. All right. This does get double Essence Warden triggers. I am fine dealing some amount of damage to my opponent here. Yep. My opponent will go to 2. That is worth throwing away a Burning Tree Emissary in my mind. All right, we have gotten the concession. We didn't really do anything. Like, my opponent did more damage to themselves than I did. I think this is a 0 sideboard round. Like, in terms of counterspells, my opponent is just going to be so much more mana efficient than I am that I don't know that it makes sense for me to hold up Pyroblast. Fury can technically remove a Death Shadow, although, like, with instant speed cycling of things like Street Wraith and, like, fetch lands being held up, I find that very awkward. I think I am just going to submit my deck as is, and if we start running into Murktide Regents or something, I'll think about Pyroblasts for the next game. My hand looks reasonable here. I dodge counterspells on everything, which is super cool. Wasteland will be good against what I'm doing here, though. Go get my Stomping Ground out of the way on turn 1. I don't know. Like, it's possible I just don't want to get Wastelanded this game, since, like, I can play such a good Cavern of Souls based curve. I don't know. At the same time, like, getting Stomping Ground Wastelanded so that my Cavern of Souls never get Wastelanded does sound really good. Let's do that. All right, your move. Okay. I'm not too scared of 2 mana out of this deck. Yeah, that's totally fine. That is scarier. And this is, like, kind of the thing that I'm talking about with Fury. So, like, if my opponent were to just, like, have another Street Wraith that they could just cycle, like, this immediately is out of the correct range. So this will go on Wizard for me. And I'm going to play out my Harmonic Prodigy. It's not actually going to be very hard for me to kill my opponent. Like, I'll play an Elvish Visionary, draw a couple of cards, and then, like, double Rage Forger triggers will be very gross. I guess I'd like to just draw, like, an Essence Warden. Also, my opponent could just do a bunch of damage to themselves this turn, and then, like, oops, I Rage Forgered is a thing that can happen. That is now scary. Yes, I'm taking that. Can't really lose this creature right now. It's just, like, far too important. That's a chump blocker. I guess I play this first around a daze, and then make the other one uncounterable. Alright, so this will go on Shaman. Alright, uncounterable Elvish Visionary, which will draw 2 cards. Stifle. Absolutely. Alright. So I can let one Death Shadow through and only do 1 chump block here. I've got, like, Snuff Out to worry about. It looks like opponent is going to play a little conservatively in terms of attacks. Makes my life actually significantly harder. A good attack on their end. So I will do a chump block here. Woohoo. I knew this was a possibility, but I don't think I can take 2 blocks here. Like, if I take 2 blocks there, then I am, like, not in a position to win with Rage Forger, because, like, if I lose the Elvish Visionary, I'd have to lose the Harmonic Prodigy, and then I only have Rage Forger for a single attack damage. Yeah. Okay. Again, I don't think I'm messing around with sideboarding at all here. This hand's a little slow. It is powerful, though. I think I will keep it. I know Stifle is a thing that I have to worry about now. So I will be fetching on turn 1 on my turn. And the question is, like, is this a forest situation? I don't think so. I think this is my stomping grounds. Like, if that gets wastelanded instead of Cavernous Souls getting wastelanded, that's very good for me. But yeah, my opponent had to show me, well, not had to, my opponent chose to show me that Stifle relatively early on. I am getting Thought Seized. I assume just takes my turn 2 play. Okay, I am wrong. The Thoughtseize takes my Collected Company, shooting for, something that is going to be better in the long term. Alright. Cavern on Shaman. Let's do this thing. Part of me really wants to fetch around Stifle, but, like, the other part of me, like, very much does not want to get dazed. Brainstorm is A-okay. Again, anything that is mana spent on not impacting the board is just so very good for me. Alright, there's a fetch for the Brainstorm. I'm not getting wastelanded, which is great. Snuff Out, pretty annoying for me, though. Yeah, that's a very good sequence for my opponent. Fetch around Stifle versus save the 1 point of life. I think save the 1 point of life here. This game is going to go very quickly. This is not, like, the optimal Rage Forger here. Like, I don't get to put the counters on like other Shamans. But, like, this second Rage Forger that I have that will be uncounterable will be quite... Well, that will be counterable now. Will, in theory, be quite strong. Daze is now so good. Okay, there is Gurmag Angler over Murktide Regent here. The reason being that this is not pyroblastable. Alright, I basically don't get to play around anything for the rest of this game here. I've just got a jam. Okay. Did not get countered. Stifle. Ugh, that's so good. So that's probably a game-winning Stifle right there. Because now I don't get these triggers. Because it's a creature with a +1/+1 counter. Now, notably, if I do draw another Rage Forger, it is pretty fucking sick. I am going to take some amount of damage here. Like, if my opponent can kill me, they can kill me. But, like, I need to just draw, like, another Rage Forger here. Holy shit! Holy shit! I mean, like, I can still get counterspelled here. I can still get stifled here. But this is lethal if this resolves. And, like, everything works out okay for me. Alright, good stuff. Alright. Ooh. Okay, so if this Rage Forger attacks, this is 5 damage. I guess I'm just attacking with this no matter what, right? Because there's no world in which I win next turn without making this attack. Then I just block Death Shadow, take 5, go to 1. I'm dead to a removal spell. But that removal spell can't be snuff out without my opponent also having a land. Alright, yeah, I'm in for this. Alright, let's save targets. Always yes. Always yield. Opponent's at 4. Already made my land drop. Has a funny thing in the corner for some reason. All have funny things in the corner, actually. What's up with that? Alright, need to dodge a removal spell. Alright, Death Shadow cracks in. This is an obligatory block. Our opponent's at 3. Okay. Burning Tree Emissary is actually pretty cool here. Alright, so let's play that. Get some mana. There's Rage Forger. +1/+1 counters on these things. Okay, if I attack with Rage Forger, that is 2 direct damage to my opponent. That puts my opponent to 1. Then I have 2 chump blocking bodies. 1 for Gurmag Angler, 1 for Death Shadow. I get hit for 3 in the air with Brazen Borrower, go to 3. Then my attack trigger kills the following turn. At least in theory. And this shuts off, like, some lines. Oh, wait, hold on. But my creature... Actually, sorry, shit. My creature dies in combat here, doesn't it? Yeah. This attack isn't actually good. I just wait on this. Yep. Okay, there's the Brazen Borrower. I'm very dead to a removal spell. Okay, yep. It can't be snuff out. Opponent doesn't have the 4th mana for it as of right now. I guess they could have a land in hand. Don't have Revolt for Fatal Push currently. It's gonna be damn close. Okay, they did not shuffle. Alright, everything is coming in, which I think means they have a new chump blocker. I can block here, have a 4/4 that is a lethal attacker if it does get in. And, like, feels like another Death Shadow. Is another Death Shadow. Okay, so 100% of the time I am dead to Brazen Borrower in the air next turn. I am going to thin my deck and try to find something that helps here. Windswept Heath is not it. Yeah, I can drop my opponent to 2, and then that doesn't quite do it. Well, damn. GG's, that was incredibly close. Despite having a mix of lands and spells here, I think this hand is a mulligan. I'm just, like, objectively not doing anything around the power level of Legacy with this hand. Like, I can play an Essence Warden into Burning Tree Emissary and Ignoble Hierarch, but then I'm just fully reliant on the top of my deck to find Rage Forger or Collected Company. And I think with only 8 super relevant draws, like, I would rather go to 6 and try to have a hand that starts with a CoCo or a Rage Forger. Alright, so let's take a mulligan here. I like this hand a lot better. I think I'm going to bin the Eternal Witness. It is absolutely a fine card, especially with, like, Fable as a discard outlet, but I think I just want access to all of my mana dorks here. Please don't Delver me. Don't have it in my poor fragile little heart. I don't want to get wastelanded, but let the record show that if I get stifled here, I thought about it ahead of time. Okay, cool. Let's play an Ignoble Hierarch and get this show on the road. And next turn, I'll play a Goblin and Archaeomancer into an Ignoble Hierarch in all likelihood. We getting Delvered, boys. Alright, it's happening. Scoreboard says that this deck so far is undefeated versus Blue-Red Delver, though, right? So, like, we do have that going for us. I don't care about Daze here. I do care about Wasteland. There's not a lot I can do about that. Like, if I want to play around both, I can just, like, play Ignoble Hierarch and Forest, but that feels relatively anemic. Like, I'd rather play towards the world where, like, this resolves, gets bolted, and then I play Goblin Anarchaeomancer and Ignoble Hierarch, and then, like, maybe try to use this to refuel a little bit later. Oh, and we're not just immediately seeing, like, Brainstorm into Lightning Bolt. Touching on 2 mana is kind of weird here. Is that... Ooh. Ooh, maybe we're not getting Delvered. Hell yeah, okay. Not getting Delvered. I am instantly more interested in this match. So what's the big payoff for being in Grixis? Hitotsuga consumes all, I guess? Probably Hitotsuga consumes all. Like, I'm still expecting Expressive Iteration as being the glue that holds this deck together. But, like, there has to be some reason why opponent is choosing to do this over Delver. And part of the reason might just be, like, non-pyroblastable threats. Whatever the backside of Hitotsuga consumes all is, like, is not pyroblastable, and that is something that very much matters right now. Sequencing for this turn's tough. I think I'm going to maximize my life gain output here. Go Essence Warden into Goblin Anarchaeomancer. Because of Hitotsuga consumes all, I really don't want to play out double 1-drop in the same turn cycle if I can help it. Wow, that was good enough for a Force of Will? That is surprising to me. Okay, we're not getting Hitotsuga consumed all, which is good. Not super good at dealing with the scaling threat right now. Yeah, that's fine. I'll take my life gain off of that. I like my Fable here. Ooh, I like this a lot too. I think I want to play this out now. Like, I don't want to play another 1-drop into Hitotsuga consumes all, and I would love to turn this Ignoble Hierarch into a card like a Collected Company or something that gives me good value. I don't think I want to make this attack. Essence Warden is worth a decent amount of life sitting in play. Regarding Hitotsuga consumes all, like, this token would eat it through the first stage of that, but, like, I still have another portion of that coming. That's fine with me. It's good, but I'll get some value out of my cards still. Down to 20. Yeah, I like that. Yes, I think I loot this one. I'm not sure about Harmonic Prodigy. It's, like, not great right now, but, like, very easily could become great. I think I'm going to keep it. I don't know, like, finding Collected Company is so good. Especially when I can, like, loot through multiple times. I think I just play another one of these and save the land to loot, but I'm not 100% sure about that. I think I save the land to loot. Alright, so graveyards go bye-bye, making an Eternal Witness slightly worse. The nice thing about knowing opponent has Hitotsuga consumes all is that, like, I don't necessarily have to worry about, like, a Murktide Regent just instantly coming and winning the game. Narset is actually actively annoying here because of, like, my onboard stuff. That's actually a... Fuck me. Actually a huge kick in the teeth. Ugh. Alright, so Narset has actually super screwed me here. Like, I now can't loot away these lands. That means I'm playing Stomping Ground this turn. I don't actually want to attack with this because I want to leave this around to copy this next turn. But this is very bad for me. Like, my opponent has done their combo finish. They have good blockers in play. They have good threats in play. And they can also just find another Day's Undoing at some point in, like, the medium range of this game. I think I'm going to have real issues here if I don't find a Collected Company. Alright, Fatal Push has taken out my token. Oh, no. Yeah, I mean, this is what happens when the control deck gets to do a draw 7, right? Like, makes sense. I am at 19. I think this one's lost. That's a Rage Forger. A shaman, you are a shaman. I mean, there's worlds, right? There's timelines where I get to just repeatedly copy Rage Forgers because my opponent has no counter spells or interaction in their 6, soon to be 7 card hand. The Planeswalker would also look. Right? Right? Yuck. I think I'm about ready to concede. Yeah. I'll probably take one more draw to see if I end up drawing a collected company, but I think outside of that one card, this game is just out of my reach. I also think it has to be my next draw. Right, opponent's got at least one of my creatures covered with that Sudden Edict, plus 3 or so more covered via Baleful Strix. Life's bad. Life's real bad. And then this gets bigger. Oh god, there's more. I have a family. Oh shit. That's interesting. Okay, I mean, making Vampire Nighthawks is sick. Okay. I guess I cast it now. When my opponent can't hardcast Force of Will or Force of Negation. Just, I don't even know that this is good enough. Fuck, okay. Alright, well, we tried. We tried. Very dominant performance from my opponent there. I think I like Furies to clear Baleful Strix out of the way. From there, Pyroblast is kind of medium. Like, I don't want to counter cantrips, but I do want to counter, like, EIs and such. I think if I'm going to keep Fable of the Mirror Breaker in, which I want to do, I probably need to board in these. I don't think the top of the library tutor is great here. I don't think vomiting creatures as fast as possible with Burning Tree Emissary is what I'm trying to do. Outs from there are harder. Maybe I can't play an entire playset of these. Oh, actually, maybe I preemptively junk a lot of my 1-drops to better play around Hitotsugu Consumes All. I could buy that. Like, my mana accelerant probably matters, but my Essence Warden isn't just gonna, like, sit there all game and do cool shit. There's also worlds where I play Rex Sage as something that can get Baleful Strix out of the way, because, like, that also destroys Hitotsugu Consumes All. Maybe that's better than Fury. Like, Fury's really good in the late game, where I can cast it, but, like, it's not a hit for Collected Company, for example. The other thing I could do is, like, maybe cut a couple Fable of the Mirror Breakers to hedge against the Narset effects and, like, play another Fury. Either one are hits for CoCo. I still just keep some number of Pyroblasts because I just, like, need to get rid of Narsets to do my whole Elvish Visionary shenanigan stuff. I'm going to keep this hand. Got very good potential. Okay. I'm just going to lead on Taiga into Mana Dork. And we'll see where this goes. I really need a third land here. So that's why I'm not just fetching on turn 1. Ooh. Okay, that's good. I want that. I think I'm going to optimize this in the way where my Harmonic Prodigy lives. I don't know that's going to happen because my opponent has a lot of removal spells. But in the world where this lives and I can play Elvish Visionary as a draw 2, that probably gives me the best chance at hitting my land drop for next turn. Which I really, really, really would like to do. Okay, cool. Now we can still get Fatal Push. We can still get Lightning Bolted. Like, the Harmonic Prodigy is not in the clear yet. Okay. Alright, my creature has lived, and I'm hitting a land drop. That is fantastic for me. Taiga. I think I'm going to play this out this way. I'm going to go Ignoble Hierarch. And this is the way that I maximize my damage. The Harmonic Prodigy causes Ignoble Hierarch to trigger twice. I've gotten in 3 damage that way. And then I'll attempt my draw 2. Opponent says, oh, that's neat. It's very fun. I don't know that it's good, but it is fun. Oh. Oh, we got a Force of Will and an Expressive Iteration for that card, though, so that's really nice. Now, if my Harmonic Prodigy lives and I get to, like, double these Rage Forger triggers, that is going to be a lot of damage very quickly. That's an if, right? Sudden Edict is fine. Goodbye, Ignoble Hierarch. Right? Actually, is that correct? This is a Shaman, and I kind of need a Shaman for Rage Forger right now. Oh, that's actually kind of strange. Yeah, I think the Harmonic Prodigy is going in this situation. Which is not really what I expected. Okay, do I care about damage happening this turn? I don't think so. Go ahead and go red-green, reduce the cost here, and then play Rage Forager. And now I get counters happening on 2 of my creatures, which puts them outside of the range of like a Plague Engineer, if that's something that matters. And I've got Rex Sage for a Hidetsugu Consumes All, or Baleful Strix that wants to get in the way. I'll still need like another Rage Forger, or maybe a Collected Company, or a Harmonic Prodigy to really start doing gross things, but I have a lot of potential here. Sudden Edict. I think I get rid of my Ignoble Hierarch here. I want to keep this Rage Forger around for the worlds where I get to copy Shamans with the Reflection of Kiki-Jiki. Alright, are we eating a Fatal Push now? Fatal Push on Rage Forger is really good. Oh. Sure, I guess that's fine. Turn's not great here. That's very much not what I want to be doing. I think I have to hold my Reclamation Sage. I think it's just way too important to destroy like a Hidetsugu Consumes All or whatever. Like, I love the idea of just like having a 3-turn clock with these 2 creatures in play, but I don't know. I just feel like it's way too likely that my opponent plays out a Baleful Strix or Hidetsugu Consumes All that I have to answer. Okay. That is a Ponder to exile, which is very awkward for my opponent given how they tapped. I wonder if they tapped wrong. And that's like a legitimate wonder, because like leaving this land up allows them to hit Fatal Push or Lightning Bolt. It's awkward for me. Alright, I get to bash for 2. Now that I have 2 Rex Sages, I will play one out as just a creature. Was not willing to do that when I only had 1 of them. This is a little bit of a limp over the finish line situation. Alright, Narset is scary. Because, like, Days Undoing can happen next turn. I might need to just kill that rather than attack my opponent in this turn cycle. Or attempt to Pyroblast that and see if I can just go in for the damage. Alright. 4 incoming damage. Puts opponent to 6, which is very awkward because this is 6 damage. But I know the game is not over next turn because opponent has revealed a Lightning Bolt, so I am going to, like, stay the course in keeping this Rex Sage in hand. Alright, we're staring at each other. I'm going to get 2 damage in on this attack. In all likelihood. There is a Lightning Bolt. That's fine. I'm going to hold this forest for a Fable of the Mirror Breaker. I'm really not doing something powerful enough to pressure my opponent highly right now, though. Yeah, this is why I've been holding back. Oh, Cavern is cool. I'll hit my opponent to 2, which is great. We'll put this on Shaman. And this may be enough for my little underdog deck here to secure a W for this game. Not the match. We'll still have to go to game 3 for that. Okay, we have gotten the GG. Absolutely respect it. Get that last bit of information on the way out the door. Alright. My Fables become a little bit worse on the draw, where my opponent can assemble Narset faster. I still in theory like Rex Sage. I still in theory like Fury in some number. I don't know. Like, maybe these ignoble hierarchs are just like so bad versus Hidetsugu Consumes All that I just like board in some number of like Furies or Burning Tree Emissaries. This leaves me with 24 hits for Collected Company, which is a little low. Considering that, like, I want Collected Company to be an absolute banger. I don't know, like, mid-game Furies, just as 3/3 double strikers that clear the board of my opponent's creatures, sometimes including the backside of Hidetsugu Consumes All. Actually seems really good. Alright. Let's get these out of here. I think I need to replace them with other creatures. I'm going to replace them with Burning Tree Shamans. Burning Tree Emissaries. Burning Tree Shamans different. This increases my CoCo counter and just gives me a few more early game bodies. This is kind of an unimpressive hand that I think I am just going to keep. Like, it becomes quite a bit better with a decent number of draws. Like, CoCo makes his hand nuts, as does Harmonic Prodigy, as does another 2-drop, as does a Rage Forger. I think this hand is just going to be fine. Like, it's really unexciting to look at, but, like, given the fact that I'm on the draw, I think there's enough relevant hits here where I'm just perfectly happy with this. Yeah, that's going to be a good turn, too. Let's do a lazy fetch here. I can F6 my opponent's turn. We'll say I'm playing around Stifle, huh? That's how we'll flavor that. Ooh, opponent having a proactive 2-mana play. That's going to be a Baleful Strix then. Fury at 4 mana because of Goblin and Archaeomancer actually is super reasonable. Okay, yeah, there's the swamp. There's the Strix. All right. Oh, another one. Yeah, this game's going to get neat. All right, I am going to go ahead and fetch. Mega is fine. I will Burning Tree Emissary. Allows me to play Goblin and Archaeomancer. And, like, I've done this in a way that protects against Sudden Edict as well. I guess there's also worlds where I just, like, Wreck Sage next turn and just blow up Baleful Strix that way. There's a lot of different timelines for how next turn looks, depending on what my opponent does with their mana this turn. Because, like, Pitchcast Fury is, like, also a thing specifically for if my opponent plays Narset. Alright, there's Force of Will. Alright. There's a lot of ways to play this turn. I can play Goblin and Archaeomancer into 1-mana Reclamation Sage on Baleful Strix. Potentially is good enough to get Force of Willed. But then if that does get Force of Willed, I end up having to do, like, the pitch on Rage Forger for Fury. I can also just, like, play Rage Forger. Let's go wide here. Let's go wide. All right. See if this is good enough to eat this Force of Will. Oh, holy shit, it's not? Wow. I am surprised. I'm very happy about this development. I'm very afraid of some of the things that my opponent can do to me, given a little bit more mana. All right, so I've got some powerful cards chilling back here. My opponent has this Force of Will. Didn't use it. Wonder if I'm about to just, like, eat a Toxic Deluge or something of that ilk. Okay, Hidetsugu consumes all, not actually super relevant to the game right now. Because Rage Forger represents so much damage, it's going to get Force of Willed. Okay. So I'm going to play this as a bait spell for this Force of Will. Don't think it's good enough to get the Force of Will, but I'm going to try. This just, like, ends up with me getting more counters. What? 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 Did everything just work? Surely everything did not just work, right? Okay, so my Rage Forger is maybe about to get bolted. Okay, or Fatal Pushed. Wow, that's so much damage, though. Yeah. Send him. Like, my opponent is nearly dead. This puts them to 5. Like, I guess they could still, cast a Toxic Deluge for X equals 3 and wipe the bear. Yeah. Okay. Alright, Shamans. Let's go. Like, we're at a respectable 2-2 right now. Like, we've already tied how I did last time with this league. Let's see if we can turn this into a 60%er and go 3-2. Alright. What is this? This is round 5. I've got 2 lands, an Elvish Visionary as a redraw, and a lot of endgame gas. I am going to keep this hand, but I keep this hand knowing that a Wasteland is so good against me right now. Alright. Sage you go. Also, apologies if I am a little... No! Apologies if I'm a little snotty here. At this point, it's like 2 weeks since, like, I had first started getting COVID symptoms, and I am, like, still not 100%. Okay. Alright. Goblin and Archaeomancer is kind of like a land. we are so soft to Reanimator in game 1 situations, and more generally, like, we're just very soft to combo. I have exactly 4 endurances. If I could steal game 1 somehow, that would be super cool, but, like, with the Grizzlebrand in the graveyard already, that's, like, so unlikely. Super unfortunate to play against Reanimator twice in a league, but, you know, say la vie. I think at this point I'll I'll concede to an unmask and, like, not give up more information about what I'm on. I'm just so unlikely to beat a Grizzlebrand with any sort of backup. Okay. Opponent's going to 5. Like, there's Rage Forger timelines where I can actually do something relevant versus that. Do I want to concede, though? Like, hiding information is really good here, because, like, what on earth are you going to think I am playing? I'm going to assume that I am dead north of 95% of the time and go ahead and take the full concession here. Alright. I get 4 endurances in. I guess I could technically play Rex Sage for Animate Dead. Hey, Flamekin Harbinger finds endurance. That's neat. I think anything that takes time is bad. So, like, I think Fable of the Mirror Breaker is not great here. It's a way to loot towards endurances, which is cool. But I think this game is largely about having an endurance in my opening hand and then killing my opponent after 1 endurance. And a lot of the things that I'm thinking about right now are, like, super sketch, like Eternal Witness to bring back an endurance levels of sketch. I'm going to go down an Essence Warden. I don't think that life gain is super relevant. And Rex Sage, it, like, technically does a thing, right? Like, it technically can stop an Animate Dead. But I think most of the time, once the creature is in play, the damage has been done, right? Like, if a Grizzlebrand gets into play, me Rex Saging the Animate Dead out of play means my opponent has, like, already drawn 7 to 14 cards. And I don't think I beat that anyway. Alright, come on, fire opening hand. This is not a fire opening hand. This just, like, does not race Grizzlebrand shenanigans. This doesn't have an endurance in it. I think that means it's an auto mulligan. Like, this is a powerful hand for this deck. Like, turn 1 Ignoble Hierarch, turn 2 Harmonic Prodigy, Ignoble Hierarch, turn 3 CoCo. Like, this would be a very good hand in a vacuum. But I just don't think this beats my opponent enough of the time. Well, this has an endurance, right? I keep this, I pitch Eternal Witness and CoCo as things that aren't currently castable. And, hope to draw a land. This is, very much not where I want to be. I also think I'm not playing Essence Warden on turn 1, so that I can pitch this card to Endurance. It's just not really a good place to be. But, like, in the world where I draw a land, I want to play Harmonic Prodigy into Elvish Visionary as a draw 2 effect. Damn it. Alright, there goes the viability of my hand. Going down, YouTube. Yep. If I had more mana in this opening hand, I could have kept Eternal Witness to better play around that exact line, but, you know, here we are. Hey, it's Eternal Witness. Alright. Anemic 1/1 Elf Shaman beats, let's go. Alright. Are you entombing? Only polite to end me quickly. I'm not sure if Grizzlebrand is correct. I think you just, like, get the Sarah's Emissary, and I can't ever beat that card. Like, a Grizzlebrand is extremely difficult to beat, like, don't get me wrong, but I don't think there's literally any timelines where I beat the Sarah's Emissary. Unfortunately, this is not a timeline where I beat the Grizzlebrand, so I'm going to go ahead and concede here. Missing that land drop just means that the Grizzlebrand gets to do what it does unchecked. And we end up with a 2-3 league. Overall thoughts on the deck list. Definitely in the fun category. Definitely in the, like, synergistic deck building category. But one of the issues here is that this is kind of a House of Cards deck where you can do really cool things if your cards don't get removed. So, for example, if Harmonic Prodigy gets to stay in play, and you do get to do, like, the whole Elvish Visionary, Rage Forger shenanigans, like, it gets out of control very quickly. But once you start eating that first lightning bolt, that first Swords to Plowshares, Prismatic Ending, or whatever, like the power of your hands goes down a lot. Because this is kind of a critical mass deck where like your Rage Forgers are better the more shamans you have in play, right? And there's a lot of scenarios where you can win really hard if things are going your way. But when things are not going your way, like you have a bunch of green-red tutus in your deck, which was good enough for Grixis control, but not good enough for most of the other rounds. I will say, I think we drew below average over the course of this league, right? Like, I resolved very few collected companies over the course of this league. Like, I just, like, either killed my opponent with anemic 2-2 beats, killed my opponent with a huge Rage Forger turn, or died. Like, that's kind of how the games went. I did not actually resolve very many collected companies, and when I did cast them, like, they just kind of got countered. So ultimately, I don't think we quite hang against the blue decks of the format. And I say that knowing that like we beat Delver and Grixis control. But generally speaking, I just don't think we keep up with the card advantage of expressive iteration or like Narset, Days Undoing, those sorts of things. I don't think we keep up with that card advantage. It felt like the average Legacy deck had too much spot removal for some of my dream scenarios to get online. So, like, not once did we get to copy something with Reflection of Kiki Jiki. And we didn't actually double all that many triggers with Harmonic Prodigy, unfortunately, either. I will say some of this data is skewed by the fact that we played against Reanimator twice, which is basically an unwinnable matchup for us. So, like, let's kind of keep that in mind. But ultimately, I don't think this deck hangs in Legacy, even with some improvements and some tinkering. Like, if you're willing to throw the mana base to hell, like, maybe instead of Collected Company, like, you can try some sort of expressive iteration pile and actually go down that Blue Wizard route. But, like, that feels very awkward to me, like, the prowessy side of things. Like, if you think about how many times we triggered like the prowess off of Harmonic Prodigy, I think it was like literally once in the entire league when I cast a Collected Company or something like that. And our average CMC in this deck is probably high enough that like expressive iteration isn't as good as it's going to be in the blue decks. So I think this is a fun experiment, but ultimately does not quite go all the way. And unfortunately, we didn't have any crazy rounds where we had Harmonic Prodigy in play, cast a CoCo, and then got, like, triggers going across the entire screen like we did last time around. So, underperforming league for this deck, I'd say. Although, like, at the same time, 2-3 is about where I'd expect this deck to finish, so, you know, it is what it is. Anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please click the like button on the way out. It helps out a lot. And if you are in this situation to financially support me, please consider becoming a YouTube member, a Patreon subscriber, or doing a donation deck list to get one of your own sweet things on stream. Have a great rest of the day. See ya!